we're taking on the governor of Nasarawa State, Governor Abdullahi Sule. But this is the area of conversation. As part of the efforts towards addressing the insecurity in Nasarawa State, the governor has convened a second security meeting in 1 week. This happened last week. The meeting, which is a continuation of its meeting on Monday, was prompted by the infiltration of fleeing bandits from some parts of the country, which the governor reviewed have already been cited in some local government areas of the state. The head of the vigilante group Hunters Association, the leaders of Fulani groups and traditional rulers were part of that meeting. So what are the issues tonight that we're taking up with the governor? The threat of the infiltration, where are they coming from? What has he seen? The security strategy and the containment tactics, because those who are living in Abuja are already hearing this, and what is being done to contain all of this. The bottom line in this conversation is how to keep the people of Nasarawa State and the border state safe from these so-called infiltrators. Joining me now is the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Governor Abdullahi Sule. He joins us from the capital of Nasarawa State, Lafia. Thank you, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure having you. Let's get started. First and foremost, how bad is the story of the infiltrators? What have you seen? What can you tell us?
Thank you very much, Sheon. But before I say anything about the infiltrators, I think the first thing is to commend the governors of those states, you know, Katsina, Kaduna, Zamfara, Niger, and the other states that have been working very hard to get rid of these bandits. I think they are doing a wonderful job, and I think we need to commend them, and we need to commend our security agencies. Now, because of the pressure that some of those bandits are having, of course, they are moving all over the north central and some parts of the northwestern states. And Nasarawa State, because of the experience that we have had in the past, in 2016, is one of the reasons why I think we are working much harder to ensure that what happened in 2016 does not happen again. We did notice some of them. We were able to see a lot of them that came on motorcycles and moved to certain locations. That alerted us. In one of the trips, we saw about 32 of them. In fact, the villagers counted that came into some parts of the state just in one night. Then we saw some going to some other locations, different numbers, and the rest of that. So that's what necessitated the meetings we had. So from what you reported, you know, we had 2 security meetings back to back, you know, in order to ensure that they say once bitten, twice shy. So we don't want to have a repeat of what we experienced in 2016 when the Darul Salam were dislodged from Niger State and they came and settled into the local government area at the border with Kogi State. So
what do they look like? Are these the bandits or are these the terrorists from, because, well, they may not have described or tagged these bandits terrorists, but the activities say much more about what they do anyways. And you look at what you have seen, do they look more like the Boko Haram members or the bandits from the information that you have?
Sheun, they look like criminals. I think that's the most important thing. These people coming in, not having anything to do, you know, they look like Fulanis, yet they don't have cows. They are not moving any cows. Instead, 2 or 3 of them on a motorcycle at a time, you know, are going around. And they had already carried out a couple of kidnappings right here in the same local government we are talking about. In fact, they kidnapped some people. Some of them escaped. And then some of them were able to use our own vigilante also to go after them before the military also set up on them. So those are the kind of people we see, you know. So they are indeed criminals. So and I think that's more important, whether they look like Boko Haram or they look like bandits. As far as we are concerned, we just tag them as criminals and we deal with them as such.
It's interesting that Nasarawa State is bordered by 5 or 6 states: Plateau, Taraba, Kogi, Kaduna, and Abuja. And when the story came out about this infiltration, it sent panic to people living in the FCT in Abuja, thinking that, I mean, a lot of people live in Nasarawa State and work in Abuja. Are you worried about this alarm and the kind of jitters that he has sent to those living, not saying that those who are living in every other places that is bordering Nasarawa state shouldn't be worried, but you know what it means. Years ago, when Boko Haram were staging attacks on the nation's capital, and you know what it means when these attacks are very prominent in the nation's capital. It touched the very nerve of our nationhood. So that's the reason why I wanted to ask the question. If you've heard about those kind of alert and alarm and the effect that is having on the nation's capital, the jitters.
No, definitely we are concerned. We are not, but we are not panicking, you know, and we are used to this. We've been receiving these kinds of people, and then we handle them, even when they were not being dislodged. From time to time, they actually relocate. They move from one location to another. And as you rightly mentioned, Abuja had always been an attraction because, you know, kidnappers are looking for people they can kidnap and make money. And they strongly believe that there are such people around Abuja. So for that reason, Abuja has always been an attraction for them. But we have never panicked, you know. Instead, you know, we get concerned, and anytime there is an activity like that, this is not the first time Kaduna State, like you rightly mentioned, Kaduna State at the border. You know, Kaduna State is one of the borders we have at Gitata, Karu, and Nasarawa State has the longest border with the Federal Capital Territory, and Federal Capital also has the longest border with Nasarawa than any other state. You know, so that's why you mentioned a lot of these people who work actually in Abuja live in Nasarawa State and they commute every day. You know, so, but we are doing it not only to protect the federal capital, we are doing it to protect our people. You know, so we are concerned also about our people because they are not kidnapping only in those parts of the, in Karu alone. They are actually carrying out sometimes in places like Akwanga, like Wamba, you know, that are far away from the federal capital, sometimes in away local government areas. So when we actually go after these people, we are going after them for our people first, you know, because that's our biggest concern right now, the safety of our own people.
So we look at the effect of this and what you are doing. First and foremost, the containment, because you've seen the infiltration. So it's not a situation. First and foremost, it has to be multi-throng, multifaceted in what the approach that you are using, because you need to stop them and also contain. How far can you tell us? What can you tell us about these strategies?
I think the first thing is that the luck we had. We are forever grateful to the security agencies and especially to Mr. President for setting up some of the security outlets that we have had. You know, a lot of the places where these people move to are places where, you know, maybe some people used to live and they vacated, especially in Toto local government where a community known as the Basa people actually left. So the villages they left, these people find very difficult to actually move in there. So we're very lucky now we have what we call the military super camps in some of those areas. We have a squadron now, a mobile police squadron in Toto local government. We have another special forces actually called the Wild Stroke. They also have a base in Ogia. Now, in other locations that we are afraid of, you know, at the border with Benue and the highway also coming out from the east, coming into Nasarawa, through Nasarawa, still going to the federal capital, you know, where we have the Oweto Bridge, which is the longest bridge that is there. So as a result of that, also, we do have some locations, you know, that have actually set up. You know, so another military super camp, another presence of the Air Force that we have. And then in Gitata, we have similar things. So what we are doing is to ensure that all those security settlements that we are setting up, you know, are locations where these people can possibly move out, you know, to ensure that we don't give them any freedom to go and relocate and settle in those kind of places. So I think that's the number one thing. We are also encouraging, because the expanded security meeting we had yesterday, we had the meeting including also our vigilante who are doing a fantastic job in Nasarawa State. Because sometimes they go after these people because they understand the areas even more than some of the security agencies we have. You know, so we had the meeting with them, and then we are also empowering them in order for them to be able to move in and protect themselves, you know, and protect their own communities. You know, so then, you know, Nasarawa State also adopted this community policing. So we do have the community police also that are coming. So you see, we have a lot of other things, but some of the intrigues, the strategy they are doing, and everything they are taking to ensure they protect us and the rest of that, I can't disclose on national TV. That other than that, I think we are taking a lot of steps. We are trying to take precautionary measures, so that we don't allow these people to come and settle in Nasarawa.
So, two quick things in this area. First and foremost, you said they are Fulanis, they are on motorbikes, and they don't have cows. So, are your people able to identify them easily in Nasarawa State? Are they that very conspicuous that they could easily be identified? Because some of the problems in some of the states is that it's even very difficult to identify or distinguish some of these guys from the natives and the locals in some of these states. And perhaps is your government looking in the direction of the anti-open grazing law?
I know we'll get into anti-grazing law, but I think the bottom line is that one of the reasons why it's easier to identify them as Fulanis is because when they move, they don't move quiet, they speak, and so when they speak full day. So they actually speak the Fulani language. That's why generally they say they are Fulani. But I can tell you not every one of them is Fulani, because amongst them, sometimes they are able actually to recruit some other people who are not Fulani. And the last time we were able to arrest them, and then we have a lot of them right now who are arrested by our CID, and then our civil defense and the rest of that. So when you go and check, you will see that they are locals, but they are recruited by those ones running away. So majority of those that have actually run away and actually came are people who speak Fulani. That's the reason why the communities will call and tell us that they are Fulani. But when we arrest them, we come to discover that not every one of them is Fulani. So I think let me make it very clear from that angle. And then secondly, it's difficult to identify them. When you say to identify them, you identify people that you have seen over a period of time. These people just come, most of them looking like actually they are even foreigners from other foreign countries from the northern part of the country. So they don't look like people actually who speak or who act, and their cultures and then their behaviors, their attitudes, their arrogance, also a little bit different, from our traditional Fulanis. Even these Fulanis that we mentioned, Fulani, there are at least 10, 15 different types of Fulanis, because the Fulanis that you would see in Niger Republic, in Chad, and in Cameroon are a little bit sometimes different from the Fulanis that we see here. That when we categorize them, we just say Fulanis. And I think that's just what is happening.
What about the anti-open grazing law? Because, these are some of the measures taken by some of your colleagues in some other states to stop the infiltration.
Is it working? I think the question is whether it's working or not. We have spoken about this over and over and over. And I will tell you, we have done something different. We're not just going with the crowd about anti-grazing law. If you sign anti-grazing law and the anti-grazing law is not working, so is it worth it? One thing all the northern governors have decided, and we have taken the decision, we say that the current method of this open grazing is old-fashioned, is outdated, it cannot be sustained. We all agreed. But the question of now going back to have anti-grazing law, we say we can also do that, but the best way to do that is if you have options for the people. It's very easy for Nasarawa State to say in 1 week, we go to the assembly, we go ahead and have anti-grazing law, and then we do that. So what happened to the Fulanis that are moving around back and forth? What do you do with them? You kick them out? Let's say we are successful in kicking them out. They move to the next state. The next state also anti-grazing law. They go to the next one. So what happens? You see, so what we said we are going to do, which is what we are doing in Nasarawa State, we say we don't like the current anti-grazing policy, is not working. In fact, if the Fulanis understand why, they will know it's not working. Okay? A cow that they can get about 4 or 5 or 6 liters of milk, they are getting only 2 liters because the cow has been moving all day, all night. The cow is even tired. Okay? So we tell them it's not working. So the best way now is give them something that is working. We are talking to a Fulani man that all his life he is used to free food for the cow, free water for the cow, free movement around for the cow and the rest of that. Tomorrow you tell him they cannot move free. So he will ask you, so what do you have for me? What's the option? So the option is the direction we are taking. We say, okay, before we have the law, let us provide an option for you. And what is that option? We say we have adopted, and that's why Nasarawa State is the first state, okay, to adopt the NLTP, the National Livestock Transformation Plan, as is the case. And they are working on in the area right now. So we have taken one of the grazing reserves, that has already been there. We have identified it. We are working with the Netherlands government. We are working with the federal government of Nigeria through the Ministry of Agriculture, and then we are setting it up. We are going to plant grass there. We are going to build school there for the Fulanis. We are going to build healthcare for the Fulanis. We are going to settle them in these areas. There is now plenty of grass for you to have, plenty of water for you to have, plenty of this. Now settle here. Don't move out of this location. Now we have at least 6 or 7 locations, grazing reserves in Nasarawa. Once we are able to do all the funding and we establish that, then we can say we have enough places to settle you, the Fulanis, in those locations. Now we don't want to see any one of you on the road. So that's the step we are taking. But instead of just saying anti-grazing law, okay, anti-grazing law, then what? So with all the due respect to my brother across the border in Benue, they have the anti-grazing law, okay? Is it working? Sometimes. Because majority of the time now, he has thousands of people in the name of livestock guards that are fighting the people at the border, to say that you can't enter. They find them in there. Oh, okay, we tax you for entry. They do that here. So this is what is happening. So it's a constant struggle, back and forth, back and forth. It's easier for a place like Lagos to have, because Lagos, where is the land even for them to graze? Okay? Is it going to Ikoyi or Bobada or Ikorodu or Ikeja to go and do that? So, but in places like ours, where you will have one area that is the size of Lagos, it's very difficult to control it. So this is the fact. This is the truth where we are taking it.
So let me take you quickly to areas of politics. You received some stakeholders in your party who are conversing for the VP to become the candidate of your party. And I've heard some other members of your party to say, look, the best bet for your party is to put an Oshibajo forward. What's your take on that?
I've not heard that. Who is the person saying that?
But some members of your party already, I hear stuff, Governor, and they're saying
I know you do.
That your best bet in your party is to put a Professor Oshibajo, the VP, forward as a candidate of your party in 2023. What's your view on that?
Professor Oshibajo is a loyal vice president. He's a man of God. He's a gentleman. He's a professional lawyer. He's a party man. And he is more than qualified, actually, to be the president of this country. There is no ambiguity. There is no doubt about it. Now, the time for it is coming. And that's what I told the gentlemen when they visited me today. They say, you are visiting me about a person I love and I admire and I respect. That is Oshibajo. But the man has not started selling himself yet. Is he aware you are selling him? Because those are the kinds of things I ask them. Sometimes people take their time, to go extra mile to do this. I'm sure you saw me at the last birthday of Oshibajo, so you know how much I respect our vice president. Another thing I respect about him, which a lot of people may not know, is his patience. Each time we are having NEC meetings, you will hear all kinds of arguments. The man will be patient enough to control the meetings, and he's able to gather and get people's support and do that. So if I sit with you, I can keep talking the good things about Oshibajo, but it's different. It's different from the way the people are going about selling him. The man is already selling himself because of who he is. So, and that's the way I look at it. And he's doing the right thing by waiting, making proper consultations with the right people who should say, yes, I agree, you should do that. Making the right contact with the party that will say, we believe we should zone this to that. So he's not running earlier than himself. Because how about if anybody will be telling you the best person is to put Oshibajo, the best person, and then they come and say, okay, no, we're zoning it to the southeast, or we're zoning it to the northeast, or even better to the north central.
But Governor, let me put another perspective to this. So Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed was in the news yesterday saying the part of what the soundbite was that look, the North has a number. You cannot bamboozle the North with saying that you want, based on what the Southern governors have said, that the presidency of Nigeria must be zoned to the southern region of the country in 2023. And Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed said, look, you cannot tell us that because we have the number. We will dictate what happens. What's your stance on what's your view on that?
The guy is talking like a Democrat. Anybody who will tell you, I must have this, is not a Democrat. Because Democrats don't say, I must have this, otherwise, or else what? You know, I mean, things don't work like that. I think the presidency of Nigeria is for people to lobby. You can lobby it, you can campaign for it, you can do that. A lot of Southerners have been Nigeria's president. Nigeria didn't come to an end. The northern part of the country didn't actually come to an end. So there is nothing to fear about a Southern president. We had Obasanjo as a Southern president who was, by the way, brought up there by the northern people, not even by the Southern. The Southern people at the time wanted somebody different. It was the northern people that rallied and brought President Olusegun Obasanjo. The same thing actually with the gentleman called Jonathan. He's from the South. He was a president. We didn't bring the South to an end. But where somebody will say, we must have this. Okay, if you don't have it, what? What next?
So you don't really like what your colleague governors said in that southern meeting, the outcome of the meeting when they said it has to be zoned to the southern region.
No, I'm saying that people, you know, it's a free world, Shewin. People can say whatever they want to say, you know, but if it carries water or it has any weight, understand? I think that's the essence. Does it have any weight in what they are saying? Because if it has weight, you can't be fighting it. You can't be saying it must. I think the word that is not there, that will not, so people like us, you can't choke it down our throat, is where you say, we must. You must what? You know, it doesn't work that way. There are a lot of Southerners, wonderful people. We just spoke about one now, who have the capacity to take this country, work it well, fix the economy, do a very good job, and move this country from where you are to the next direction. But even those kind of people, you don't say they must, you know. If they don't, what next? You know, VAT, resource control, this and that, is that it? You know, because you can't tell anybody you must. That's just the word that I'm concerned about when you say they must. You know, it must come to the South. Okay, how about if it doesn't? Because it's possible that it may not.
But just 30 seconds, Governor, where do you think it must go for the sake of fairness? No,
I think you and I, Sean, every time we speak, and you know I love speaking with you because you do your research very, very well. Before you come to talk to me, you know that I'm going to corner you with fact. Yeah. So the bottom line is, Sean, is that I've spoken with you over and over and over, and I say I'm a man of fairness. I strongly believe in fairness. I have absolutely zero problem if our party zones this position to the South. I will support it with all my effort. I will have absolutely no problem with it. In fact, I will be at the forefront, you know, of supporting it to make sure it happens. You know, but what I say I don't like is that when people are even speaking this way, then somebody will jump up as if he controls you, as if he does that and say, you must. Then you say, no, I'm not. Then what? You see, that's the part. So there is no choice. Yeah.
It's a very interesting conversation, you know, and because it keeps coming up and up. I mean, we can't stop talking about it. And wherever it goes in 2023, we'll still talk about it in the next election cycle. But it's always a pleasure. I always look forward to talking to you. Just a fascinating man that you are. Thank you so much, Governor Abdullahi Sule, for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Always a pleasure for me. Thank you very much. I enjoy
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.